Hey, it's Cable here from One to One Fitness, and today I want to talk to you about something that I think is very, very important. As a personal trainer for well over a decade and seeing thousands of clients here in Red Deer, one of the things that's always bothered me is it seems like our healthcare system is overloaded. Our doctors are overwhelmed and overloaded. They can't keep up with the client load. And I think it's terrifying. I feel for them about the massively life-changing decisions they must make in a very short period of time with very little information. As personal trainers, we can't and don't and won't diagnose things, but what we do differently than many wellness practitioners is we're looking for patterns. We're looking for patterns in both lifestyle, behavior, actions, and habits that will often allow us a different perspective to see how you can enhance your physical feeling or increase your fitness level or lose weight or just feel better on a day-to-day basis. Now, don't think this is a criticism against our doctors, because nobody has a more difficult job, and honestly nobody does a better job of ensuring that people live longer and live the lives that they deserve. However, I think a huge burden on our healthcare system could be relieved if we became really focused on these three things. And I wish it was three questions that doctors always asked. So the first one is, how much water? Now, maybe your physician is different, but I don't know too many family doctors that I've ever been to that actually ask me how much water I consumed on a daily basis. Our body is more than 60% water. With as little as 2% change in our total body water, our physical and mental performance is incredibly hampered, and I think it's as little as 3%, we can actually go into cardiac arrest and die. Your body has to stay hydrated. Now, with that, I think statistics say that more than 80% of North America is chronically dehydrated. So I know for a fact that with my clients, one simple thing that will make more change in their life than anything else is how much water they consume. I've had clients that I've worked with flexibility issues that couldn't touch their toes, that we worked for months and months on stretching, and when I was finally able to get them to maintain a consistent water intake, their level of flexibility increased so much in a short period of time that it almost made the other months that we were working on this kind of a waste of time. It was very discouraging for them to know that simply had they started consuming more water in the first place, they would have made much more progress. If you get headaches on a regular basis, because our society functions off caffeine, we're constantly go, go, go. If you get headaches on a regular basis, you're probably dehydrated. If you feel emotionally unstable, if you have days where you feel very happy and you have days where you feel very sad, hydration can be a huge factor in terms of emotional feeling and symptoms of fatigue. Okay, without water and resources, our bodies fails to work properly. Things cannot be absorbed and utilized as well as they should. They don't get transported as well. Nothing works as well without water. So if there's one simple thing that I would suggest to you, and we never spoke again, I know that consuming somewhere between 2 to 4 liters of water or between 8 and 16 glasses of water a day will entirely change your life. The old adage of 8 glasses a day typically isn't enough if we have any form of activity, we have any form of stress, and just about everybody I know these days consumes something other than water, particularly things like coffee, tea, or perhaps sodas that will dehydrate you further, increasing your water intake or increasing your water requirement. So number one, how much water do you drink each day? The second question that I wish I heard more physicians ask was simply, how many hours of sleep do you get each night? So sleep is also a vital component to our body. Sleep is a time where our body shuts down, repairs, recovers, and rejuvenates. And most importantly, during sleep, our body releases tons of hormones. Our hormones, as we know, control everything. So particularly things like our primary sex hormones and growth hormone are released primarily while we're sleeping, or the biggest amounts of, which are very, very important to the longevity and health of our body. So, and sleep is difficult because in our society where we're so busy, it's not uncommon to miss sleep. But unfortunately, it isn't as simple as trying to get a couple of extra hours on the weekend. Many researchers believe that sleep debt actually accumulates. So throughout life, your sleep debt is typically getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, which ultimately affects the longevity of your body and how quickly it begins to deteriorate or break down. So again, if we could simply ask and remind people about improving sleep behavior, we could likely minimize the number of healthcare costs and have less trips to the physician. The last one is, how many times do you eat each day? Now, as a personal trainer, this is probably the one that we hold closest to the hip, so to speak, in terms of the thousands of people I've seen over the last decade or more as a personal trainer. I can tell you it's not uncommon for people to eat 1 to 3 meals per day. Okay, and most people, so female, an average meal might be 300 calories, and for a male, like 400 to 500 calories. So you can assume that many people are consuming somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500 calories per day of quality nutrition. Now, if you're eating processed food or eating out a lot, you can be consuming a lot more calories, but of course, being processed, it's typically things like saturated fat, or things that might be genetically modified, or massive amounts of carbohydrates and very little viable protein. So we're really getting compromised quality of nutrition. Furthermore, the number of times that we eat also stimulates our metabolic rate in how your body is using energy. It's kind of like having that fresh new credit card that you want to break in and make a purchase. You know, when it's brand new, you're more apt to use it more often, as opposed to when you've had it for a while and you maybe have a balance or not. So it's always one of those things, like, we want to get people eating more often to stimulate metabolism and ultimately the amount of energy that your body burns. Now, how much you're eating will directly reflect how easy it is to stay hydrated, often how well people sleep, and also contributing to hormone production. And most importantly, if you're not eating enough, which I can tell you over the years that almost the number one thing we do, even for a weight loss client, is increase calorie consumption by 40 to 60%. So the body can't work if you're not giving it enough energy. It simply starts to go to its circuit panel and shut down different systems in the body. So if you're not fighting anything off in terms of sickness, illness, or disease, your body's going to compromise its resources for the immune system. Okay, we have less white blood cells. Now we might start to get sick more often. So your body has to find the energy somewhere. Unlike your car that simply runs out of gas and dies, your body has to keep going. So whether you're feeding it or not, it's going to find the energy from somewhere. Most of us would like to believe that it burns off body fat, but unfortunately that isn't the case. Body fat is very easy and cheap to maintain, where muscle mass is much more expensive and costly energy-wise. So in a depreciated caloric state, it would rather burn off or get rid of our muscle mass that it doesn't need for survival, ultimately lowering our metabolic rate further. Now, that's a long topic, but if you'd like to know more, there should be another video here on our YouTube account that will explain more about calories specifically. In the end, I totally wish that physicians at the beginning of every appointment would ask these 3 questions. How much water do you consume? How much sleep do you get? And how many times do you eat per day? If you set some basic habits in these 3 areas, I can almost guarantee you're going to minimize your trips to the physician and help our doctors provide the best quality of care and ultimately decrease the burden on our healthcare system. Hopefully you found this information useful. If you'd love to know more, please check us out at personaltrainingreddeer.com.